Hello, welcome to the webinar. I'm Claudia, our EAT Food Brand and Content Manager. I'm based in Madrid. I'm part of the wider brand and communications team, more specifically the brand and digital team. We have our team is split across different parts of Europe, and we manage different areas that are part of communications, such as branding and content, which is myself, social media, events, digital campaigns, media, press relation, and internal communications. I'm happy to take you through today through our branding guidelines and as well some useful communication tips which you can use to help you promote your projects with EAT Food. The agenda for today, I'll briefly cover some of the things that we'll be discussing. So how we use branding and communications at EAT Food, an overview of our branding guidelines, the tools and channels that we have at EAT Food, our Food Hype platform, press releases, social media, and how we use social media. And as I mentioned previously, some best practices for communication. Look into the EAT Food strategy. So at EAT Food, via our core communication channels, we aim to engage with 100 million people by 2025. And I'm happy to say that we're nearly there already. And the way we do this, our main approach is using impactful storytelling. And the storytelling is based on our 3 missions, which some of you might know already. These are healthier life through food, a net zero food system, and reducing risk for a fair and resilient food system. So these are our 3 main focus areas. Our ongoing digital strategy is focusing on building, obviously, a strong and trusted brand for EAT Food. And all the content that we create and that we produce with our community as well aims at driving this brand awareness and at the same time build community advocacy. Our audiences, it's very important to get to know your audiences before you create, obviously, any content. And at EAT Food, we have 5 main categories of audiences. These are grouped, as you can see here in the presentation, in accelerators and entrepreneurs. So these are the startups, the entrepreneurs that are part of our community and as well outside our community, but people that we are looking to engage with, thinkers and policymakers, producers and farmers, practitioners and learners, you'll know our education services, and consumers and citizens. Consumers and citizens, we have a dedicated platform for this audience. It's Food Unfolded. If you don't know it, yeah, I invite you to take a look at their website and the Instagram channel. And you'll note the difference. Their content is targeted at consumers and helping raise awareness among consumers about the challenges that we have in the food system. And what tells you about these 5 key audiences is mainly our main audience are professionals. So you'll note that in the tone and our tone of voice and the content, the examples of the content that we produce is targeted at a professional audience. So people who are experts, who already understand the food system and they have an expertise. So whenever we communicate something, we have to keep that in mind. It's not about raising awareness, it's providing them with useful information. And how we work with this 5 group of audiences. So we plan to bring them, our aim is to bring them inside the EAT Food community. And we do that using change makers. For those of you who are not familiar with the terminology, these are basically influencers, so relevant people, organizations, can be as well platforms, who have the influence and credibility to get our message across to wider audiences. obviously audiences who are part of these 5 categories. Our communication channels. So we use Medium. We do a lot of op-eds, media interviews, advertorials, press releases, social media. We use it for promoting, for engaging, for building this advocacy piece. We have campaigns. We use campaigns for targeted communications, such as, for example, digital advertising for specific projects or events. Paid and performance, we have data tracking in place to ensure that we can measure the impact of our campaigns. Community, we have a website, we have the Food5 platform. We have a blog, a monthly blog, which is published on our website. Feel free to have a look. It's very insightful information. It's articles that cover different topics aligned with our 3 missions. But we also include in the blogs examples of the innovations happening within our community, projects that we're doing with startups, with members of our community, highlighting the amazing things that they're achieving. A podcast as well. This is also on, you can find it on the website and as well on Spotify. Our Food5, it's called the Food5 podcast as well. Have a look at it. We've recorded a few episodes at Nextbite as well. It has different seasons, and last season of this year has just started in September. So yeah, we're already uploading episodes every week. And branding and community support. We have a comms hub, which I'll be talking about that, and an asset library. On the comms hub, you'll find lots of useful articles about our branding, about who to contact if you have a communication inquiry, articles about how to use social media, how to use best practice for using images, writing content which is inclusive, using as well inclusive images, about press releases, how to publish something on our website, how to write a good communication piece. It can be an article, a blog, a press release, or different examples. There are lots of articles in there, so I think that will be the main platform from you. If you have a question or you need to find something, first just go to the comms hub, and if you don't find anything there, then just get in touch with us. There's a form on the communication hub which you can fill in, and you'll be your message will be sent to the relevant person in our team. And the asset library, this is our image bank. Good. A few words now about our guidelines, branding guidelines at EIT Food. The purpose of our branding, building this strong brand, is we want to be seen as the biggest food innovation community and build a core identity around this. Very important, our guidelines are given via EIT, which is also instructed by the EU Commission. So it's very, very important to follow the branding guidelines. Otherwise, this can negatively affect the competitive funding. And as well, we are on a regular basis, we're getting audited by EIT. So you'll see on the branding portal that our brand book, our branding manual, is actually the EIT branding manual. There's not we don't have a separate branding manual for EIT Food. The EIT branding manual is applicable to all the KICs, so all the knowledge innovation communities, such as EIT Food. EIT Food is one of them. And in the brand manual, you can find the guidelines for the logo usage, the fonts, the color palette, and as well, not to mention that you can it will help you maximize funding. And it's very important to build this consistent brand across all our channels, across all our projects, so people can easily recognize EIT Food. Well, one of the key elements of a brand is the logo. In our case, I listed here a few examples of best practice and how it should be used. On the branding portal, you'll find a link to the logo and also a few mentions about how to use that. A link as well to the brand book where there are specific guidelines in terms of how to place it, the distance, the size. What's very important to keep in mind is keep the logo at a size which people can easily read. Do not alter it in any way, so don't split the EIT Food icon from the co-funded by mention. Don't reverse it, don't alter it in any way. We always advise to use the full color version, which is the one with the green tick. So the one which has the colored circles around EIT. If you need to use the white version, there is also a white version available for download, but the EU flag is always in blue, not the dark blue, which is here marked in red. So you have to make sure you always use the correct version. Here as well, other examples. So you might see, again, if the main place where you should search for our logo and download it is our branding portal. I'll share the links with you at the end of the webinar in the chat so you can easily access it from there. But if you search for our logo on the web, on Google, for example, you'll find older versions of our logo, which originally we were you'll see the mention was not co-funded by, it was EIT Food is supported by the EIT, so we are not using that logo anymore. Okay, in terms of the font and editorial guidelines, we use always British English when we communicate about EIT Food. So you'll know the difference using an S and not a Z, organization, for example, with an S. We don't use hyphen for agri food, for example, agri-food. It's all written together, or startups as well. And in terms of the colors that we use, we prioritize the green. You'll see the green here in the middle, the light green. We decided to use this one more than blue, just because green is more of a foodie color. But you can also use on the materials that you will want to produce for your project. You can use additionally some of the colors also listed on the right, our color palette. You have the codes in there, the color codes. And in terms of the font, this is our official font is Titilium. This is to be used on graphic design on online assets such as a banner or an infographic, but on Microsoft Office materials such as a PowerPoint, an email, a Word document, you can use Calibri. Because we assume that other people will not have Titilium installed on their laptops, so they won't be able to read the text properly. And Titilium, just so you know, yes, it's free for download from our branding portal. In terms of the website, we have around 20,000 visitors on a weekly basis, so our website is very well placed. You can find examples on articles on the Communications Hub on how to best optimize website content. This is also useful for you, for your own websites that you have. How to promote an event on the EIT Food website. How to create a web page on our website. So have a look at I won't go into, because otherwise it will need more than 1 hour. I won't go into too much details about every single channel, but yeah, do make sure you visit the Communication Hub if you want to find out more. One thing to keep in mind is that events that are added on Food Hive, they're automatically being displayed on the EIT Food website on the event section. So there's no need to duplicate work. In order to get access as well, there's a process in place. So go to the Communication Hub and you need to fill in a form. We have a team as well who manages our website, and you can get in touch with them by emailing website@eitfood.eu. And as I said, no need to write the emails addresses down, the email addresses down, because they're all linked to from the Communication Hub. Food Hive, and this is our community platform. Use it as much as you can. You can connect with other people, other participants, with experts, with people from EIT Food. Can help you promote your projects. It can help you reach out to the right person in our community if you're looking to collaborate with a farmer or an entrepreneur, another entrepreneur, and get inspired as well. See what's happening, what others are doing, and see how you can also collaborate. You can promote your own project. You can add your events to the calendar, and they'll be displayed on our website automatically. There are several tips how to best use Food Hive for events. And there's a Communications Hub article giving you more details about it. But for example, make sure you create an engaging title, make sure you give the right amount of details without being too specific. So try and keep it short but punchy and engaging. Make sure to tag as well people within EIT Food, people within our community. There's an option to do that, so you can search for their name. Place some cool images in there as well. Make sure when you create your profile that you provide as much detail as you can about your experience, about your industry, the skills, because people can also search for you on Food Hive, searching for the topics or for the skills that you have. So they can easily find you if they would want to connect with somebody in your area. There's also a notification button. So if you want people to get certain people to get a notification when you publish a post, you have the option to do that with a button when you create a post. And if you have any questions, suggestions as well on how to use Food Hive, we can improve its functionality. We work with the developers, so we're constantly adding new features to Food Hive. You can reach out to our Food Hive mailbox via the Comms Hub, and my colleagues will liaise with you further. In terms of press releases, important to keep in mind that all our corporate press releases have to be approved by EIT. And we have to have a strong reason for developing a press release. So it has to be something, great, groundbreaking news, something very innovative that is being launched, a report that we've worked on with universities or with different stakeholders and that we're launching. They're relevant for all our audiences. And yes, any announcements, but again, has to be something very, very strong and relevant. But if you have any questions and doubts, or if you have a suggestion for something, just reach out to our media team and they can be able to advise you best. When you can use another form of communication and not a press release. So if you have updates about your project, you can easily share that via Food Hive, for example. Feel free as well to tag us on social media. If you write something about your project, I really strongly advise you to tag us, because we always engage with people from our community, and we can help you raise more awareness and more visibility around the things that you're doing. I'm sorry, I'm coughing a little bit. Again, any research or insights that are very project focused, again, there's no need to do a press release for that. Any words that can be only of interest to internal audience and not relevant to the 5 groups of audiences that I just talked to you about, then it's best to use other platforms to communicate this. Social media, we have a very clear approach to how we use social media, organic social media particularly. You know that there's a lot of content being published out there all the time. So we need to, in our case, we are aware that in order to break among the noise, we need to tell inspiring stories. We need to show deep, impactful achievements, deep insights into the challenges of the agri-food sector, and we enable people to join conversations. So if you follow us on social media and you see the content that we produce, the content that we develop, you'll see that we use a lot of statistics. We tag different change makers, I was saying, so people that have a strong voice in the sector and that are saying something. We quote them. We talk about the different challenges in the food system, using as well powerful images to showcase that. Again, keeping in mind that we're talking to a professional audience, and we want to keep the conversation going in terms of what's happening, share the latest trends, in order to get people to get involved as well and achieve this food transformation that we're all looking for. And while we have a storytelling approach for organic social media, anything that has to do with registration for events or for projects, we use paid advertising. It's also how these social media platforms work. So the algorithm is always prioritizing paid content. Because they want to, obviously, to make money. So any content that starts with register for our event, register for our project, it will have less visibility than content that's focused on sharing key learnings, key insights from events, from whatever you're trying to talk about. So an advice here as well, make sure that if you want to promote registration, that you have to do that via paid, so create an ad or boost a post. So it's best to have even if it's a little pot of money dedicated for that. And you can find us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on X for now. We also have a YouTube account where we share lots of videos from our projects and our community initiatives. And there's also an Instagram channel for Food Unfolded, targeted at consumers. And yes, on YouTube, you can also find videos of our podcast episodes. We're planning to make most of them now video as well. Best practices. So communication can be a lot of things. It's not just content creation, it's also keeping this constant dialogue with your audiences. So not just when we need them to engage with us, when we have an event or when we want to communicate the launch of something, we want to keep them engaged, and we want to talk to them and provide them with the relevant information. It's also digital marketing, press and media. It's also looking at the campaigns that you want to do, but also looking at very, very important, the audience. So you have to know your audiences very, very well, and select your channels because you can't be active everywhere. It's an investment, a time investment. You need as well the right people. You need a lot, the right content to be developed, and it's best to look at where your audiences are, what channels they're using, and put your efforts in using those channels. So in your case, you will want to disseminate your project to the right audience. And the more you communicate about your project, the more it helps you toward reporting your KPIs to EAT Food. And it can also help you obviously meet your goals. So whether it's engaging with people, getting them to be part of a project or get involved in a research, just have a think about your objective and what you're trying to achieve, because communication, as you can see here, it shouldn't be a tick box exercise. Okay, I also need to do this. It's part of your wider strategy for your project. And knowing your audiences is the first thing that you need to do. So you'll need to do audience segmentation and the stakeholder research, see who they are, what they're doing, what their interests are, where are they active, what channels they're using. So you can divide them in different groups that are relevant for you. You can take into account their demographics, their behavior, device use, their journey, depending on the project that you're developing. As mentioned before, use the relevant channels. I think, apologies at the box here, just it's not displaying it properly for some reason. So you might want to have a website or not. You just might want to be active on social media. You might want to do a newsletter to keep them updated on a monthly basis, or less often if needed. You might want to have a blog or a podcast. Just see what your audiences are interested in and make sure you provide them with information on the relevant channels. You also have to create engaging content. So keep in mind that people are constantly bombarded with content on email, on the social media channels, they're active on the platform, the news platforms that they read, and so on. So in order for them to, in order for your content to reach further to them, you need to make sure that the content is engaging. So see what type of content they like, what type of, it's a matter of testing it out. So they might engage more with infographics. In our case, we see that on LinkedIn, for example, infographics such as this one about the water footprint of food, they work really, really well. People really like this type of content. So we're trying to provide it, develop this content more often. So it can be as well, if you have to communicate about a report or white paper or research that you did, think about how you can present that best to your audience. Is it worth just an image? Is it worth doing an interview with a person who participated in developing that report, or is it with a project participant? Can you do a series of interviews throughout the project from start to finish? The opportunities are endless. You also want to make sure you measure the communication activities that you do, because some might work better than others, and can also help you monitor the progress of your project. So you need to set up relevant KPIs. This can be in terms of the website, the number of page views, or the number of, or the time that they spend on your website. pages that they access, how many people have signed up for your event. If you create a hashtag, and we encourage you to do that for your project or for your event, you can check the hashtag reach. Also make sure you promote it everywhere on your communication materials. And yeah, the project mentions, but once you have KPIs in place, you can measure them part of your communication strategy. You'll find an interesting article on our Comms Hub. How do I promote my EIT Food project? There's an example there of a successful project that we did with Aarhus University, and how the university promoted it. It was research that we did together. And you can see examples like from start to finish, how they plan the communication and how they actually exceeded the KPIs at the end of the project. And to wrap up, on the Comms Hub, as I said, you can bookmark the link, so you can always keep it and access it easily. You'll see FAQs, tips, guidance about branding and communications. I'll share a link to the branding portal as well, and a link to the asset library. In terms of the asset library, just so you know, it's images. You'll find there images from our events, images from our community on the different topics. We're be relaunching it earlier next year. We are currently working on restructuring it, reorganizing it to make the meta tags work better, so it's easier to search for images. You can use the images for EIT Food related initiatives, projects, so where EIT Food is involved. Make sure if you use one of the images from the asset library that you put the EIT Food logo as well on the image, they're free to use. No need to credit us, and I strongly advise you to use images which feel realistic and natural instead of stock images. People tend to engage more with images which seem as if you would have taken it yourself. Thank you.